grab your fam and grab some paint because it's time for family art making. What's up, Ringling fam? It's Kallie, and this month's theme is printmaking. That's right. All month long, we'll be learning about different prints from the Ringling's collection and then making some of our own. And if you picked up an art kit from us, this is project number 1. This week we're talking about the beautiful, colorful Kabuki prints from Japan. Kabuki is a type of traditional Japanese theater, so it's kind of like a play. And the prints we'll be looking at today are some of the various Kabuki actors wearing the costumes and the makeup that they wore for their specific roles in the different shows. So these pictures are called wood block prints. To make them, artists would draw out their design on a paper and then stick it to a piece of wood. Tiny cuts would then be made around the drawing to make an outline. Then everything inside the outline would be chiseled away into the wood block, and then ink would be painted on top, and finally the wood is pressed into the paper and ta-da! You have your cutout design. If that sounds confusing, think of it like a giant stamp. So these actors would have been famous celebrities. Their fame was fueled by these mass-produced woodblock print portraits called yakushai. They would have been used for advertisements and even sold like souvenirs from the show. The makeup and the costume that the actors wear on stage and in these prints help tell a little bit more about their character. So let's take a look at some of these and see if we can figure out who they are. So this first one, this actor is playing the role of a petty criminal, and he has a bat tattooed on the side of his face, and this is a punishment for a past crime. You probably wouldn't see a bat tattooed on the side of the face of, let's say, a prince or something like that. So think about these kind of things when you make your own. What can make your character stand out? This next one is of a beautiful courtesan, but she is slain by her lover in a jealous rage. How scary. And this one is a very famous actor, and he is playing the role of a henchman, of a military leader. He looks a lot different from that petty criminal we saw earlier, right? Now this last one does not come from a Japanese kabuki stage, but rather a Chinese opera. While they're very different, both Chinese operas and Japanese kabuki theater use all male casts and make use of the elaborate stage makeup and costumes. Now this is what I call stage makeup. Isn't it beautiful? What role do you think this actor had? Who would have such makeup? Something to think about. Let's take a look at this album of works next. These are all images of the same actor, a man named Maiko. He played roles of warriors, ghosts, demons, and more. Do you notice how the costumes and makeup change with each role? That's part of what makes Kabuki so special. The process of putting on the makeup is important to the actors because it helps them get into character. First, they apply oil and waxes to help the makeup stick. Then a thick coat of white makeup, called oshiroi, is put all over the face. Finally, red and black lines are used to outline the eyes and mouth. For supernatural heroes and villains, there's a special style of makeup called kumadori. Each color they use represents a different quality. For example, red might represent anger or passion, while blue means sadness, like in this painting. Keep that in mind for our projects later. You'll need a piece of foam, and if you don't have this, order some takeout and use the top of a takeout box. It'll work just as well. A pencil or some other pointed object that you can draw with, paint, paint brushes or paint rollers if you've got an art kit, and a piece of paper. Now these projects are designed to be done by anyone who wants to do them. So remember, if it's a little too complicated for you, you can make it a little easier. If it's a little too easy for you, you can make it a little more complicated. It's really up to you how you do this project. The first thing you want to do is get out one of those foam sheets. If you've got an art kit, you're going to probably want to cut yours in half because we'll be using the rest of it for next week's project. Then you want to take whatever you're using to draw and you want to draw out the face of your character. I'm making mine in the style of the Kabuki prints, so I'm just doing the shoulders up, but you can do yours however you want. As you draw, you want to press your pencil down really hard so that you can feel the indentions in the foam. You'll notice that every few seconds I'll go in and feel to make sure that it is pressed down. Those lines need to be pressed down. I'm just making mine a general female character for now, and then I'll change it up depending on the makeup and the colors and the costume that I add in a minute. Next, you want to grab some paint. I'm using white paint because I'm using brown paper, and I wanted mine to look more like the Kabuki prints that we saw, and they do start off with white makeup. So I'm covering mine in white paint. You want to make sure you cover it really well, get a lot of paint on there. The more paint, the better. Then I grabbed some brown paper. I'm using brown again because I wanted it to look more like the original ones that we saw. And you just want to place it face down onto your paper and press it really well. Make sure you get all that paint transferred onto the paper. And remember, everything will come out backwards. So there is my finished print. And then I did it one more time, and I will show you two different makeup styles that I decided to do. Two different characters. So first I'm using gold, red, and black. I wanted it to look more traditional like the ones that we saw earlier, using red and black, kind of maybe an evil character, something like that. Thick lines, dark black hair. Maybe this character is like an evil sorceress or like an evil queen. You see I add some different little symbols to the face, kind of reminded me of the bat that we saw earlier. It's really up to you what characters, what stories you want to tell. So here is my other print. This one I used a little bit less paint, as you can see, but I think it still turned out really nice. And I'm using a bright pink, a bright blue, and that gold again, just to show a different side of the same print. Even though it's the exact same face, you're gonna see how different the characters look with the different colors and makeup that I chose. You'll also notice that I start painting her hair gold, and then I go back and paint over it in black. And it didn't look how I wanted it to look. And that's another fun thing about this is as it dries, if you don't like what you did, you can paint over it. You can grab that white paint and start all over if you want to. You can see I did a little bit more rounded shape, made her lips kind of curl up at the ends, make her look a little bit sweeter, a little bit happier than that first character. I also added some little heart decorations on her neck, just to kind of play around with the idea of that supernatural makeup that we talked about before. And then just for fun, I took some decorative washi tape and put it around the edges to act kind of as a frame around them. And I used two different kinds of washi tapes to match their characters. So a flowery blue one for the first character and a black and gold pattern for the second one. And if you want, you can do the same and then cut around those to have your finished Kabuki Yakushai prints. You can see the difference is better when they're side by side, even though it's the exact same face, the exact same foam print that I used again and again and again. The makeup and the costume really is what makes it different. So I encourage you to make a bunch of different prints using yours and try out different makeup, different colors, different hair, different costumes, and come up with all kinds of fun stories and plays. And then maybe, if you want, you could even act them out with your friends. So here's how my two prints turned out. I think they've turned out pretty neat, but I would love to see your artwork. So if you would like, you can send a picture of your artwork to the Ringling Facebook page, the Family Programs Facebook page, or send us an email at education@ringling.org. And if you do, let us know that it's okay to share it because I know the rest of the Ringling fam would love to see what each other are making. But that's all I have for this week, so I will see you next Saturday at the same time and in the same place. Bye!